Welcome to What's the Smackdown, my dudes. We are your hosts, Tusha and Corie, and this is where we talk all things WWE. Okay, my dudes, so I'm sure you've just watched Survivor Series. Pretty juicy. What'd you think?
Thought it was unreal.
Yeah?
Yeah, very exciting.
Obviously,
Awesome.
I think the most impressive matches were the Wargames themselves.
Yes, agreed.
That's what everyone, that's what we came here for, right?
Exactly
And
right.
Chicago, what a fucking show did you get? Oh my god, Triple H pulled the fucking stops out today, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Are you kidding me? And there was a lot of debate here about is it who's coming back? Like Randy Orton, CM Punk, because it was in CM Punk's hometown.
That's right.
It was that I suppose worry of is how are people going to feel about a Randy Orton return, even though he is a big deal and we want to see him. But it's CM Punk's hometown.
That's right.
And he's
That's
been on the cards. He has been someone that people have been discussing. And Triple H, wow. And you know what was really cool? Because I felt like I was watching it and I felt like massively like it was definitely a Stone Cold scenario from back in the 90s.
Definitely.
Where they're like, oh, he's not here. And so, and if you're an old school wrestling fan, you know this has happened before. You know that in the past, Stone Cold has done this. He has meant to be in an event and not been there. And they're like, is he coming? And bang, out he comes. Just like they did tonight. So that felt a little bit, for me, like kind of predictable. That's how they're going to do it. But what wasn't predictable was CM Punk having a moment too. That was impressive.
That was awesome.
So just to note, America, like, you guys are the fucking best. Like, you get into wrestling so much, and thank you so much for doing that. Because you do that, we get to see all the best things happen. So please keep being the best fans ever. All right, let's talk about Wargames. Okay, so the women kicked it off tonight.
They did.
So we had, obviously, Damage Control.
Yep.
And for those of you who, are familiar, Damage Control is the team of Bailey, Io Sky, and, I'm bad at this. What's her name?
Dakota Kai.
Thank you. Dakota Kai is originally the members of this team, but now we also have Kyrie. Is that her name? She's new. Tonight was the first time I seen her wrestle. I actually thought she was pretty good.
Yep.
So she's in part of that team, and now Asuka as well. So that was the team of Damage Control tonight versus the team of Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch. We also had in this team Bianca Belair and Shotzi.
Yep.
So this was good. This was really, really good. I was so happy that, of course, Charlotte, Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch and Shotzi won.
That's right.
I was going for them.
100%.
But it's always a bit torn in these situations because I feel like I look at Damage Control and they have some really impressive wrestlers on here.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? They're really, really good like that, and you look at them and you think, wow, okay, these women are impressive. Then on the flip side, you look at the team of Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch, and they're also impressive. So, it was kind of a hard one to call.
It was definitely a hard one to call, I think. But I think they put on a really good match. I think they did it for the women. They did good.
I think they did really good too.
Yeah.
And it was good to see Charlotte and Becky Lynch push aside their beef.
Yes.
To
it was very good.
Yeah, I suppose to have that moment together.
That's
where
right. They were
they're friends again.
That's
well,
right.
Not
That's
friends
right.
again,
but they were asked in the press conference after Survivor Series, how about a tag team run together by one of the reporters, and they said don't push it.
They're not that good of friends right now.
They said we're just mending things, so we'll just go with that.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Now that was cool to see. But and speaking of impressiveness in this match, Io Sky and Charlotte Flair, God, they just were like, let's go next level.
Yeah.
Let's go next level, and I love it. I love that they did. Io Sky is worth noting that she has actually competed in every female War Games event since she's been in it.
Since it started,
Yeah. So she's been in it now. War Games was actually invented by Cody Rhodes' father.
Dusty Rhodes, correct.
Yeah, and this is what's interesting too, is this was Cody Rhodes' first ever War Games. So I know we're not on the men's right now, but we will get to that. But I just wanted to note some things that were kind of memorable for this. And Io Sky being the one woman in it who has that, I suppose, what would you say? Yeah, exactly. She has that experience in this. And so she did the same crazy trash can thing as she did last year.
Yeah. Put the trash can over her head and jumped off the cage.
That was impressive.
That was awesome.
People liked
That's
that, right?
Awesome. She'd have to have some trust in her female wrestlers, wouldn't she?
Oh my
Doing
God.
something like that.
Are you kidding me? I almost felt sick just watching her up there.
Yeah. She's awesome, but she pulls out all the stops.
She did so good. She did really impressive.
She's really good.
So that was a good one. I think the women did really good. They had a lot of weapons in there, which is good to see.
It's always good to see.
It felt like a bit of attitude era. I enjoyed it.
It was good.
It was really good. It was really good. And then, so before we had the men's kickoff, obviously, we had some matches in between.
Yeah, a few other matches in between. We had first the Miz vs Gunther. Was the first one.
Yes.
After the women's Wargames. What did you think of that?
Now, here's the thing. I was surprised, to be honest, that Miz didn't win, only because Gunther has been, obviously he doesn't have citizenship in America. So for any events where they travel international, he can't compete. He can't leave the country, because if he does, then he can't get back into the country without citizenship.
That's right.
So, how much longer is Gunther going to have this title for? Of course, how long is it going to take to sort out his citizenship?
Yeah, well, true.
That's a question there, right?
Yeah.
So, I was
a little bit surprised too, but I think he's really good. He's a really good wrestler, Gunther. So
he is.
I'm not surprised that he won. You know what I'm saying? I'm sort of surprised with everything going on, that the Miz didn't win, because I thought like he could have, because, what are they meant to do with a guy that can't leave the country when they're having,
Exactly.
The Elimination Chambers in Australia, Backlash after WrestleMania is in France now.
Okay.
Yep, this week was just announced. So they're trying to really do the international thing in 2024, I've noticed.
Yeah, cool. I think that's kind of cool.
I think it's really cool, because I think it gives everyone the chance to get there, you know what I mean?
Yes.
In their country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's never been really wrestling in France, I don't think, ever. I don't think they've ever done an event over there.
That's cool.
So I think it's really cool for France and, for us.
For the world.
Everyone in the world. I think it's awesome.
Well, that's just how much wrestling is growing now, too.
That's exactly
a lot
right.
of people are more fans of it nowadays.
That's right.
I feel like
exactly.
it is a big deal.
Exactly.
So, okay, obviously... Oh, no, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, so the point of that was I just, I was surprised he didn't lose today.
Well, that's what I was just,
With all the international events coming up.
Yeah.
I was surprised as well, but it's hard because he's really good, and I think people know he's really good.
Maybe Miz is not the person to take that.
Yeah, maybe not. I think someone like Drew McIntyre could be perfect for that, but maybe he's not, I wouldn't say down on that level, but maybe he's meant to be in the World Championship.
Yeah, I was just about to say, are we looking at the wrong league for him?
Yeah, maybe.
Just personally, I feel like Drew McIntyre is
World Championship wrestler.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Sami Zayn should be like an Intercontinental Championship wrestler, I think.
Look,
personally,
I agree with you, but Sami Zayn definitely has that kind of Daniel Bryan pull.
Yes,
what's the go here?
Very
I
much
like
so.
Sami Zayn. I think he's cool.
Yes.
Do I see a champion when I look at Sami Zayn? No. But then again, being said that, did I see a champion when I looked at Daniel Bryan? No.
Not at all.
So you never know.
You never know.
All right. So what other matches do we have?
All right. So let's move on to Santos Escobar versus Dragon Lee.
Yes.
So obviously Dragon Lee stepped in for Carlito, and Carlito had stepped in for Rey Mysterio.
Yes.
A couple of injuries before the match had even started, so Dragon Lee stepped in, which Santos Escobar won the match anyway. It was an alright match. I don't think there was anything massively to highlight about the match.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
I think it was, I think it was not too bad. I'm not really sure where they're going to go with Santos Escobar. I don't know where that's going to go, whether it's going to stick with the whole Rey Mysterio story, or whether they're trying to give him his own sort of, I'm not sure. But I don't really feel like there was much to discuss about that match, to be honest.
To be fair, I agree. I do agree.
I think good job, both of them, but, it wasn't a highlight. It wasn't a highlight match. You know what I mean?
Not with what they had going on.
Not at all.
And then for me, probably the most... Again, one of the most boring matches of the night.
This is the next match, do you think? Yeah, Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark.
The reason I'm going to say it's one of the most boring ones is because I feel like we always expect more for a championship match, always. But look, I've got to say about Rhea Ripley, I have to say this. I think she's a good wrestler. Do I think she's a great wrestler? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Do I think that it's time we have a new women's champion? Yeah, I do. I really do.
It's been nearly a year.
I think we've got some impressive women coming up. We have impressive women in wrestling as it is. I mean, but Rhea Ripley sometimes for me, she's just a little bit boring to watch in the ring.
Yeah. I don't know. I think sometimes too, they don't work with people, with certain people. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Like I feel like Rhea Ripley when she has a match against say someone like Raquel Rodriguez, I think that's a really good match.
Yes,
because I
they
feel
do
like,
work well together.
I'm not sure if it's because Zoe Stark's so small compared to Rhea Ripley, and she doesn't work with her, but it's like.
But they're different types. You've got to think Zoe Stark's very flippy athleticism
you're
like
right.
that. Her athleticism is different. Whereas we look at Raquel Rodriguez, she's a powerhouse, just like Rhea. But
I feel like Thing is a perfect example of Rhea Ripley, and I love him, but I think he's a perfect example of Rhea Ripley. Seth Rollins. I think he's great.
Okay.
I've always thought he's great until pretty much 6 months ago. I thought every championship match he's had this year has been borderline pretty boring.
Yeah, okay. I feel like he's better on the ring, on the mic.
Yeah, he's great on the mic, but I just think that, he's got to do more. He's got to put on a bigger, he's got to have main event matches that are stealing the show.
Yes.
He's the world champion. We don't want, the main event can't be the tag champions, man. That's not main event stuff. It's cool.
No.
But whenever is a tag match the main event? It's the world championship. It's always been about the world championship.
True.
That's the biggest prize.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
No, I do.
And I feel like too, but I will say this in defense of Seth Rollins. I feel like people like Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles just didn't work well with him. I feel like that's why his matches are a little bit boring this year. I feel like he didn't work great with them.
But I feel like if you're good at your job,
you can work great with anyone.
If you're good at your job, shouldn't you be able to work great with anyone? I just want to put that out there because just touching base on you saying like Rhea Ripley is like depends who she's with.
Yeah.
Like she was really impressive with Charlotte Flair.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Awesome.
But again, Charlotte Flair is that A-lister wrestler. And I just think, like I was saying in the last podcast, not every wrestler has that overall today.
No, you're right. But I will say, like, you look at Seth, all right, you think about it. You look at Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles this year. They were okay matches. They weren't great, nothing special, pretty average. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look at Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes last year. They had 3 matches. Every match was pretty much a 5-star match.
Yeah.
Because they took it to the limit.
Yeah.
Because they both, they worked. They worked well for them.
They did.
And they got match of the year in WWE. They were actually given match of the year.
Yeah.
So
yes.
I think it just goes to show. And don't get me wrong, I think Seth Rollins is great. I just think give him some maybe real competition. I'm not sure if that's, and that's no dig at Shinsuke because I love Shinsuke. AJ Styles,
look, AJ Styles, I think he's had his time.
AJ Styles ever since.
I don't know, man. I look at him and I just feel like he's a 40-year-old dude who tries to look 20. I like, no offense, AJ. I think you're cool, man, but
I think
you're done.
I just think you look like.
I think you're done.
Every time I look at you, I think Tom Cruise, and I just can't.
I think you're done, my dude. No, but look, I think I've got to say honestly, but Seth Rollins, Seth freaking Rollins, sorry. He's always at every show.
Yeah.
He is at every weekend
He's a workhorse.
He's always there.
That, but he is.
But I just love him on the mic.
He's brilliant on the mic.
And I just love that man on the mic. He's just great on the mic.
I honestly don't think there's anyone in wrestling that can touch him on the mic.
Except, yeah.
There's only one man.
I know who you're going to say.
There's only one person.
LA Knight.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, he's a popular one. He's a popular one. People like him.
Yesterday on Smackdown, he came out and the roof blew off that Chicago arena when LA Knight came out.
They love him. They do love him.
They really do.
And I think he's really cool.
He's bringing. I like LA Knight.
I like him too.
I think he's good.
I do too.
I think he's awesome.
Well, shall we get to
the men's?
The main event.
Yeah, the main event. Yeah. So, what did you think of the main event?
Look, I liked it. I loved it.
We knew what was happening in the main event.
I feel like we're just too big a wrestling fans.
We'd already basically predicted
that
what was
Randy was going to just pop in halfway through when it was needed. Because as I said, we've seen this happen in the 90s. Being a fan of the Attitude Era, we've seen Stone Cold do this. Especially Stone Cold. He was notorious for this.
It's the funniest thing. They always do it. They think that we forget.
I don't forget.
They think we
I don't
forget.
forget. I don't forget. I love old school wrestling. I do not
That's
forget.
right. That's right. And that's how you can tell you're a hardcore wrestling fan to me. If you watch wrestling today and you already know what's going to happen because it happened 25 years ago,
You don't forget shit.
you're a hardcore
And
wrestling
you love
fan,
wrestling.
man. That's right.
So like we knew that was going to happen,
100%,
obviously, because we were
100%.
discussing that here.
Yeah.
And we wanted to film a live for you guys while
Yeah.
we were doing it, but obviously you can't be filming the event.
Copyright issues and things like that.
So we didn't want to do that.
That's right.
And we swear a lot as well.
Yeah.
So we just didn't maybe want to say anything.
Exactly.
One day.
Exactly. That's
anyway,
right. That's right.
So the men's was really good.
It was.
It was good to see Randy Orton come back, and we knew that was going to happen the way that happened.
Yeah.
As I said, CM Punk coming back did not expect, but that's not part of this match.
No,
But there were highlights that I think maybe do they outshine the match a little bit?
Maybe.
Well, because look, Randy being back was a huge highlight. That's so much of a highlight that all of them did the same move together.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you know
That's
what I mean?
right.
That's how much of a highlight it was.
That's right.
You know, that's impressive. That's really impressive.
Yeah.
But then, you know, we're watching them work, and this was the thing, you know, this was the interesting thing, is the same with the women's, is the actual factions are the teams that lost.
Yes.
Whereas it was the teams that were just pushed together
for the night.
that actually did better together and came through.
Yeah.
Because when we look at how we work as a team, obviously, like, we look at, like, you know, the women's team, as I said, like Bailey and that. Bailey was coming in hard for her team, always jumping in, trying to stop the counts, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And so they very well always work well like a team like that. And I think that's where we expect them to have the upper hand. Same with Judgment Day.
Yeah, agree.
They have that very team tactic. And they had a plan from the start.
Yeah, Money in the Bank.
They had a plan from the start.
That's right.
That's right. They wanted to cash in. They wanted to cash in and fuck over Seth Rollins.
That's
Can you
right.
believe
That's
that?
right.
What a sneaky rat.
That's right.
Oh my God. Damian Priest, you sneaky bastard. What are you up to?
That's right.
When are you going to cash in next, bro? That's what we want to know.
Very interesting.
But anyway, let's not get off topic because I could do that all day.
That's right.
But like men's Wargames. So let's talk about it. What was highlight for you?
Highlight of the match would be definitely the RKO.
Yeah, how good was that?
That was unreal.
And even we have to credit JD McDonough there because he is very much a part of this move as anyone else.
And not only that, I'm going to throw JD a little bit more credit here in the fact of saying I've never seen him wrestle in a match.
Not like this.
Never, ever. No, personally, never seen him wrestle before in my life, ever. Haven't. And I think he did well.
I think he did good.
I think some of the moves he pulled off were really impressive. He impressed me for his first time of me seeing him. I think he done well. And for such a main event, like he was thrown into a main event. Like he's not really anyone in that sense. You know what I mean? No offense to him, but he's very new. He's very new on the scene. And you know what I mean? Like Finn Balor made the point earlier. He said, like, you know, to Damian Priest, how good is it that JD's got his first main event ever for him?
Yes.
Which I think he stepped it up.
Yes,
I think he did well.
He did.
I think good for him. Good on him. You know what I mean? Dom was typical Dom. You know, hit everyone from behind and then didn't really do much after that.
Like, I mean, I get it. His father is a you know, it's Rey Mysterio.
That's right.
So of course Dominic Mysterio is going to be someone in the wrestling industry. But what a shame. What a shame that he can't actually wrestle very good. And what a shame that everybody hates that boy. Oh my God, does everybody hate him with a passion. And I mean, he comes in and the boos are like, whoa.
And I don't like him either at all, but I definitely appreciate what he does.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I love the tribute to Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Again, it's old wrestling. Anything that takes me back to old wrestling, like I like that.
Exactly.
But I just really, Dominic Mysterio, just as a wrestler, he just doesn't cut it. And so, like I said, we look at these impressive names in here. Like, I think Jey Uso really stepped it up tonight for me. No, I really did. I think Jey, I really like Jey. I do. I think he brings it. He gets the crowd going. Women like him. He's got a bit of that sexy happening.
I like Jey. I think Jey's good, but I don't know. He just doesn't do it for me.
Okay.
I just don't think he's like Sami Zayn before we sort of touched on. Same sort of deal for me.
Yeah.
He's just not in that
doesn't
picture.
Feel like that person,
you know what I mean?
for you.
I don't see Jey Uso facing someone at WrestleMania in the main event for the world title ever.
Don't you?
No. Oh. No, I just don't. He's just not. And no offense to him, you know, at all. He's just not that caliber for me.
Okay. Look, I
Not for
think
me.
he has potential to definitely do it. Does he want it? That's more, I suppose, the question is because he put up a post, right, saying when the times were good back when he was with Bloodline. So, does he want it alone? Can he do it alone?
No.
But I personally think Jay did good tonight. I really like the save on Randy when they were face to face with each other. Like, there's an issue here.
Yeah.
I thought like Jay's save was nice. It was smooth. It was well done.
Yeah.
I think Jay did good tonight. I personally think I think they both did really good, the men and women's war games. Personally, both of them.
Yeah.
They were the both most impressive for me tonight. I'm really glad that both teams I wanted to win are the teams that won.
That's exactly right.
In terms of what was more maybe electrifying to watch, I feel the women's perhaps.
Yeah.
It was just, there was more like, what are they going to do type thing. Whereas the men's, they just wanted to go in like brute muscle, like fuck the weapons. They're just going to fuck each other up. And it was good. It was cool. But I feel like the men's really opened us up for more of what's to come.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you feel that?
I agree. I was just about to say that to you. And I think, I just lost my train of thought there. I think the women's one was really good. And I was actually just about to say to you, I feel like if Randy's not there tonight, the women probably did better than the
show.
Men. Yeah. Nearly. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think Randy made the save there for the men. I think that pop of him coming back stole the show.
And I think bringing out CM Punk was a really nice way to finish it.
I think to finish it for Chicago, I think that was just icing on the cake for them. You know
Making
what I mean?
it that kind of solid event.
Yeah, 100%.
In Chicago
100%.
as well.
And
it was done well.
I thought it was really cool how, they said Triple H didn't tell anyone.
I know.
It was between him and CM Punk. No one knew. Literally within even minutes of CM Punk coming to the arena, no one even knew a damn thing.
Triple H, you sly dog.
Well, he's the head of creative now, so...
I love Triple H, and I love that he's still a part of it.
Yeah.
Because Triple H, he has been in it forever.
Yeah.
Not forever, but, long time.
That's right.
Really, really good to see that he is still a part of creative. He is still a part of these storylines. Awesome. We do have some people that are still a part of the McMahon era, in a way, in this. So that's really good to see. So how do we feel about, if we're looking at some division here, so if we look at that, obviously we had division within their own teams.
Yes.
And we had a little bit, obviously, like Becky and Charlotte had a little bit going on, but that was squashed pretty good.
Yeah, of course.
But then we look at the men, right? So we have Cody and Seth, obviously don't get along, just for tonight.
That's
right. Jay and Randy. Now, we mentioned this last time as well. The Bloodline are the ones who put Randy out and fucked him up. So, obviously, Randy, you don't forget. So, there was that issue there. Then we had Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre with some,
leadership issues.
Yeah, what's the go here? And then, obviously, again, these two are not faction together. However, we've got an issue with Drew and Jay.
Yeah.
And Jay seems to be a common theme here as an issue for a little minute.
Remember, Jay was the issue with Kevin Owens. Remember when he first came to Raw? And Kevin Owens...
Because of all the stuff he's done when he was with Judgment Day, Bloodline.
And now Kevin Owens is on Smackdown because of Jay, basically.
Oh, shit. I like Kevin Owens, actually. I think he's cool.
I
think he's a good wrestler, actually, although sometimes he really looks like he hits people.
So I was going to say to you, what do you think more now, what's next for who and things like that? So... I think Thing's a really good one to touch on here. Drew McIntyre. What's next for Drew McIntyre, do you think? Because I think he's probably the hardest to predict what's next for. One of them.
Look, I personally seen a championship, world title for him, personally.
Royal Rumble?
Personally is what I've seen.
Possibly, or...
Look, if I look at Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, if I look at the both of them together, I hear them both on the mic. I personally like Drew McIntyre better. Yeah. He makes me laugh. Yeah. He's a little bit funny. Yeah. He's an unreal wrestler. Yeah. The man of his size. Holy shit. Crazy. He's crazy. And I like Damian Priest. I personally don't mind him. Yeah. I don't like Judgment Day, but if we take these people out as individual wrestlers and look at them as wrestlers and what they could be or what they could do, I personally think I don't know, I think Drew McIntyre is more of a champion for me than Damian Priest. he just has done it more overall for me. Damian Priest on the mic is not great. He's not great, and a champ must be great on the mic. How do you?
Yeah, I agree. I think Drew McIntyre is definitely better than Damian Priest, but I will say in Damian Priest's defense, you know, he's been here 5 years, not even, well, about 5 years, is he?
He's been around a little while.
2018, I think he's on.
He's been around a little while.
Drew McIntyre's been here since like 08.
But to be fair, sometimes they don't always give him that push.
No, they don't.
And you do need to go away and reinvent yourself sometimes.
No,
and how many times have we seen this happen?
Look at Drew McIntyre.
Look at Cody Rhodes right now.
That's
prime
right.
example.
That's exactly
prime
right.
example
100%.
of someone who is
100%.
now one of the biggest names in wrestling, one of the biggest faces in wrestling for children.
That's right.
He's kind of like the new John Cena.
Yeah, he will be.
Right? Do we feel like that? Like the new Hulk Hogan, the new John Cena, the new good guy.
Yeah.
This is him, right?
Yeah, I think you're right.
And who the kids just love and adore. Who, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's my son's favorite, absolute favorite.
Yeah.
Loves him to death, and a lot of kids feel this way about him.
Oh,
so
yeah, definitely.
I feel, but Cody Rhodes again, he's been around for a very long time.
No, he has been,
and it took a while. That's all I'm saying.
No,
it took a while for him to, So
yeah,
I think Drew McIntyre, just because he's been here doesn't mean shit.
No,
because he has come back. Do you remember
100%.
old Drew McIntyre? Like old Drew McIntyre versus like today Drew McIntyre.
Oh
what
my God.
the fuck, man?
Old Drew McIntyre was like the size of today's Drew McIntyre's leg. Are you joking?
Yeah.
Today's Drew McIntyre, he's just on a whole nother level. But he has won world titles before. He's won, once or twice world titles before Drew McIntyre has.
Yeah.
So it does not, it comes as no surprise to see him in that picture again.
Agreed.
Not at all.
Agreed.
I think other people, like, I don't know, it's hard because Cody and Jay have been a tag team. I think that's going to be done now after Wargames. I think you can't really
That's
keep
what I was
going
going to say, because why would you take Cody and elevate him to where he is now just to put him back
in the tag team division?
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
You're not gonna. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's going to be like, they'll still be friends and stuff, 100%. But I think like Sami Zayn will now be on his own. Jey Uso will be on his own. Cody Rhodes will be. Seth Rollins will be. And Randy Orton will be.
Yeah.
There'll be no... Everyone will be going down their own path to WrestleMania because that's the way it is.
Yes.
But I wanted to quickly ask you, because we are doing the podcast, I want a quick pick for WrestleMania, for Royal Rumble. I want you to give me who you think's going to win the men's and the women's Royal Rumble. We're going to put our predictions in right now. Because it's better, I think, because we know less.
Okay.
Okay.
Because we know it too well.
Yeah.
All right, that's reasonable.
Whereas in a month, if we put our predictions in, we're probably going to be 90% correct.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So, women's Royal Rumble, who's going to win?
Who do you think?
I think... Oh, it's a hard one, actually.
Isn't it?
I thought actually first initial thought was Bailey, surprisingly.
Wow, that's an interesting thought. She's a good wrestler.
She's a good wrestler.
She's a good wrestler.
But I'm trying to think
She's not popular, but...
I'm thinking of the bigger picture of like WrestleMania,
I get you.
Io Sky.
I feel you.
You know.
I feel you.
But I feel like someone like Charlotte Flair could win too, because who doesn't want to see Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania?
Well,
she's that damn good.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Who would be pissed if she was champion?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
who's going to be pissed if Charlotte Flair's going to WrestleMania to fight Io Sky? It's going to be a fucking a main event. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's going to be awesome.
Especially if she beats her.
Look what Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair put on last year. That was awesome. That was a great match. And I think the athleticism of Io Sky, I think, imagine what they could do together.
I feel like there's a name that a lot of people are forgetting.
Yeah.
Raquel Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but this woman is an impressive wrestler. I feel like she's too hard to ignore.
Yeah.
She's way too hard to ignore, and I feel like we haven't really seen her come up yet.
I like Raquel.
And I think it's coming.
I like Raquel.
Look, I think Raquel's chance is coming because I think she is an impressive wrestler. And if we look at the women that we've had champions, like we went from, like, obviously we've had Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch the man,
100%.
Bianca Belair, very strong, very impressive. And who took it from her? Was it Rhea Ripley?
No, Io Sky cashed in, remember?
Oh, she did too. She freaking did too.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? Like, Io Sky has actually one that kind of is like, okay, this is This is different because she kind of just
Does her thing.
yeah, like she's a good wrestler.
She's a great wrestler.
It wasn't a push I kind of seen coming. Yeah, that was more for me.
100%.
But look, I don't if I can be I don't know if I can be honest.
Who's taking the Royal Rumble? We need an answer.
I know we do. Women's Royal Rumble. Who's taking it? It's really hard.
I'm gonna go. I'm oddly gonna go Bailey. I don't know why, but I'm gonna go Bailey. Has she ever won the Royal Rumble?
I don't really know.
No, I don't think she has. As far as I know, because I know Bianca Belair has won one, hasn't she?
My
Rhea
problem
Ripley's won
whenever
one.
I think Royal Rumble,
Yeah.
I always think like Attitude Era.
Yeah, of course.
So I've got to really be like modernized.
Yeah.
See, my most impressive women's Royal Rumble match for me was one Bianca Belair was in.
Yeah.
The first one that she was in. It was the first one she won it.
Yeah, I thought so.
God, she did good.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Oh my God. And I would personally like to see Bianca Belair be champion again.
Yeah.
Just personally,
Yeah,
I
she's
really
awesome.
would.
She's awesome.
I was gonna say her, but I just don't know if that's gonna happen again. I wish it would. I like her. I think she's a great champion. I think she's a perfect embodiment of what a great champion is. I just don't know if they're going to give it to her again.
Yeah.
I don't know. For the women, I don't know. I really don't know.
We need a name. You can't just sit
Fuck
there
you, man.
and say you don't know. I'm saying we need to put predictions
Fucking
in.
pick someone.
You just looked at me like I was a moron when I said Bailey. But I don't care. It's a prediction.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Fair.
Just have a go. What do you think?
Who do I think?
Like Raquel before when he said that was a good one. Like she could win.
Oh, she
Like,
could.
You know what I mean?
She could.
She's a.
What's her new chick?
What new chick?
She's meant to be real good. She just come up.
Jade Cargill.
There you go.
She might win the Royal Rumble.
What about her?
Yeah.
We haven't seen her yet.
Yeah.
And I've been reading about her. And they say
Apparently
she's
they-
good,
they've-
man. They
yeah.
say she's real good.
Apparently Triple H is just keeping her in his back pocket, just waiting for the right time.
Could be Royal Rumble.
So it could be. She could come to the Royal Rumble, definitely. I actually completely forgot about her.
Yeah, of course she
Forgive
did.
me, Jade.
No, I didn't forget about you because I've been waiting to see you.
So,
I've been hearing you're
interesting.
impressive.
Yeah, very interesting. Should be. So is that who you're going to say for the Royal Rumble? Jade?
Well, I don't even know if she's going to be in it, but
Yeah.
since I need to pick someone
Yeah. That you know's on the roster.
that I know is going to be there,
Who you got?
look, I'm going to lock in Raquel Rodriguez.
All right,
Okay,
all right,
I really
cool,
am. I think
cool.
she's got a big chance.
All right, I like it. Now we just took about 10 minutes to figure out who we pick for that. So now let's
Let's
do the
not
men.
take 10 minutes for the men. You're going to lead our podcast.
Who do you think for the men? What do you think? I think it's really hard because I think there's so many.
There's so many people that could come.
and that's not taking anything from the women, but I'm just saying.
There's more competition.
I just feel like there's so many names. Like if I can think off the top of my head, obviously look at all the names just in the main event tonight. Like Damien Priest will be in the Royal Rumble, Finn Balor will be in the Royal Rumble, Jey Uso will be in the Royal Rumble, Sami Zayn will be in the Royal Rumble.
Exactly. These
Drew
in
McIntyre,
himself. These
Randy
people
Orton,
in himself.
Cody Rhodes.
Look, I'm going to say,
all gonna be in the Royal Rumble.
I'm putting my money on Drew.
Yeah, okay,
Fucking
I like
Drew
it. I thought
McIntyre.
Drew earlier.
Let's go Drew.
I like it.
Because what I think is going to happen with Damien Priest
Yep.
is, I'd be surprised if he cashes in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I feel like
Seth Rollins did it.
I feel
That worked.
like Damien Priest is going to cash in WrestleMania. Don't know why. I don't feel like Damien Priest is going to win Royal Rumble because he has Money in the Bank.
But when you say that to me, I feel like echoes the point I made to you earlier about Finn Balor winning the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
He's
I
my
know.
pick.
Well, this is actually what I wanted to get to.
Yeah,
right. So let's just before we get there, your pick, Finn Balor.
I think Finn Balor because not in the fact of I think he's gonna easily win the Royal Rumble because he's unreal. Compared to everyone else.
Yeah.
I think Finn Balor's going to win the Royal Rumble because I think
The setup
to come
for
WrestleMania.
the
Because I
future.
feel like, could you imagine Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor mid-match, Damien Priest cashes in at WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah.
Triple threat
And then,
match.
well, this brings me to
It's
my
now
point I was
triple
getting to is
threat match.
factions breaking up. Because we can see this.
100%.
We can see
100%.
that factions are going to break
That's
up.
right.
Because what's going to happen really is, I feel like, because let's look at these factions, right?
Yeah.
So we've got, really, if we break up Judgment Day, the ones who are going to be left behind, Dominic is going to be left behind. The ones that are going to go somewhere are Damien Priest, Finn Balor. JD McDonough's a bit new to tell right now. what they will do with him.
Yeah.
And look, Rhea Ripley, sadly, we've seen what happened with China when DX broke up or when they kind of got rid of her.
Yeah.
China, unfortunately, didn't do a lot with her. But to be fair, obviously, China was dating Triple H. There's a bit more of a internal circle.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you.
And times are very different now
Thank you.
Whereas
Rhea could really go forward without the faction.
And I think, I think women too today in wrestling
don't need the men like they used to.
No, they don't, for one, but for two, I think they have a lot bigger of a following. And I think that comes down to, like you said, that stage of time in wrestling where they started doing women's main events.
Yes.
Like Charlotte Flair and that you said they were literally still on the show. They were doing that.
Oh, the first ever women's Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Was her and Sasha Banks.
Did you say it was the main event?
And it was unreal.
Of the show?
Like they did so good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
exactly.
so women really are up and coming.
Yeah,
like not even up and coming. They've really like made their place solid.
In
Whereas
wrestling. I feel like you said it perfectly. I think they don't need the men anymore.
No.
And I feel like in the late 90s and the Attitude Era, they desperately needed the men.
But you know what I'm saying.
That's
if
right.
you know, you know.
That's right. If you know Vince, you know.
I was going to fucking say
right.
that. But wow.
I think Lita was probably the best back then. And obviously China, because she was a beast.
China, to me, she paved the way for women to step out on their own and not need men. She set this tone.
I think the funny thing is, with the whole comparison these days, respect to Rhea Ripley, I think she's cool and all that. And I think the homage she pays to China by sort of trying to do that stuff is cool. I think that's cool, but it's like you're not in an Intercontinental Championship match against a bloke. Like,
you're not in her league.
You're not.
You're not,
and you never will be.
No, you won't.
No, and it's more.
She was the ninth wonder of the world for a reason.
And not only that, they don't do men versus women's matches anymore because
today's world,
it's frowned upon. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
No.
Even though wrestling is staged and it's not,
Of course, but in the 90s it was still the same.
100%.
However, in the 90s, people back then were more crazy.
That's right. That's right.
And it wasn't so frowned upon to come out and have women, I suppose, be in physical confrontation with
100%.
It was like juicy back then. Whereas nowadays it's like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Are you serious? Do you think the women these days are tough? Go watch Lita versus Stone Cold and Triple H on YouTube. They demolish her.
How many women has Randy Orton RKO?
Oh, at least 5.
And I noticed
she'll probably be next.
Who, Rhea? Oh,
she's been
that's what I
talking
thought you meant.
smack
I thought you meant her.
She's been talking shit about Randy for ages. So, cop that.
But anyway, so if we look at the factions breaking up, and do we think that... So if we think they're going to break up, obviously Dom, we don't know what's going to happen with Dom. Rhea will be alright.
Who's on the outer with the factions? For me, I personally think Bayley and Damian Priest are probably on the outer with these factions. I feel like I see them two being the ones maybe to be either kicked out or leaving.
Yeah, I see that. I see that because Damian Priest is very like these code words like I'm the leader and they've been saying like he's setting his authority and those type of things.
I think Damian Priest really needs to become his own superstar, not in a faction. He needs to build himself a legacy and be that type of dude. Yeah. And I think he wants to be that type of dude.
Who is Damian Priest?
That's right, exactly. Who is Damian Priest without the Judgment Day? You know what I mean? Let's see it. Who
is Damian Priest? We know Damian Priest is like Judgment Day Damian Priest, and we've been watching him since before then as well.
Yeah, he's United States champion.
But I feel like champions for 3 years in a row, like there's people that love that. So if you're going to have another champion potentially for a long time, who's it going to be?
Do you know what I just thought about that's hilarious? Could you imagine in like 2020 if you stopped watching wrestling because you just were not that into it anymore and then you started watching it again in 2023 and Roman Reigns is still champion? You'd be like, this is exactly why I stopped in 2020.
Oh my God. You know what's hilarious? That's...
You know?
Yeah, I do know.
I feel sorry for them people, that's for sure. But anyway, I think we've pretty much covered everything. What do you think?
My dudes. We could keep going on and on.
We could talk wrestling for days, but
we've gone longer than usual today, dudes.
Yeah, we've already gone 10 minutes over. That's right. Extra 10 minutes special. That's right. Exactly.
But look, we're obviously Royal Rumble is the next main event, which is why I've been discussing it. It is the 27th of January.
Exactly.
WrestleMania is coming up. But obviously,
Leave your predictions in the comments for Royal Rumble.
yes, Royal Rumble,
Elimination Chamber here, and WrestleMania.
But obviously, the two biggest events that anyone cares about is Royal Rumble and WrestleMania.
Yes.
And we want to see juice.
That's right.
Beyond juice. I can't wait, my dudes.
Personally, this year I think I'm nearly more excited for Elimination Chamber than WrestleMania.
Is that because it's here in Australia?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I think it's awesome. Super exciting.
We're excited for everything to come.
That's right.
We just love wrestling.
Right. Exactly.
So, well, thank you for joining us today, my dudes. Anything that opinions you have, any predictions you have about whatever we've discussed today, please just put it all in the comment section.
That's right.
Anything you'd like us to discuss, please put it in the comment section.
Exactly.
And until the next time, my dudes, we'll see you later.
See you
Bye.
later.